I want to remind you real quick what Kyle Shanahan said a few weeks ago about the quarterback position. He was asked, I know this is a hypothetical, but when you say you were content with those two guys, Purdy and Lance, does that mean you would not be looking at signing a starter-level veteran at all? This was the question. Kyle Shanahan responded, quote, I know we have two starters on our team right now that I believe we can win with. So when you have that situation, you're not that eager to go looking around. That's what Kyle Shanahan said just a couple of weeks ago. Well, I think it's time for him to get eager to go start looking around. Go look. Time to look. Because the Niners can't have this whole season depend on Brock returning. Because that's a hope and a prayer at this point. We don't know when he's coming back. It looks like best case scenario, he misses all of training camp and preseason. Let's say he has the surgery on March 7th. Well, that means best case scenario, he's back September 7th, which is like, a week before the season starts. And would he be ready to start week 1 after missing the entire offseason? Probably not. So the Niners have to be looking for a starting level quarterback because the Niners do technically have it's hard to say a team has a Super Bowl window before they're set at quarterback. But the Niners have so many expensive veterans on their team who are good, among the best of their position. And they're not going to be here in 2025 necessarily. I feel like the Niners have a 2-year window with this particular core. And the core is Trent Williams, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, Eric Armstead, Travarius Ward. Those 6 guys probably aren't going to be on the team in 2025. Or, most of them won't be on the team in 2025. So the Niners have invested a whole lot in these 6 players. They think they're among the best in the league, and they think that they give them a chance to win a Super Bowl. So do it now. They can't just be waiting on the quarterback position indefinitely and let those 6 guys totally waste away in their prime. So if Brock Purdy comes back, great. If Trey Lance takes the next step, great. I like Trey Lance, but the Niners haven't been able to keep him healthy. The way they use Trey Lance, he's gotten hurt twice in 4 games. And what's funny is they said Lance needs to prove that he can stay healthy which is weird, right? Like they don't play him at quarterback. They ran him 16 times against Arizona. He got hurt. And they ran him up the middle against Seattle. He got hurt. And it's almost like they're saying like, look, he's not ready. This is how we have to play him. Oh, he got hurt. Oh, it's on him. Like, it's almost like they don't want to do that project anymore. And then with Brock, they're like, oh, he's not injury prone at all. He just had a fluke injury. Well, whatever, however you want to think about it in your mind. He also got injured on his first start. I saw 2 injuries in 8 starts. But whatever you want to call it, you don't know when he's coming back. You don't know what he's going to be. Even though Kyle Shanahan can wish as much as he wants that Brock's going to be just fine. So how will the Niners proceed at quarterback going forward? They got to bring in a guy who can start next season. And you're thinking, is it Jimmy Garoppolo? I don't think they're going to re-sign Jimmy Garoppolo. That sounds like a breakup. I don't think Jimmy wants to come back. I don't think Kyle wants him back. I don't think the Niners are going to be offering much more than a 1-year deal, right? They'll offer someone a 1-year deal with incentives. Probably with a very low base salary because the idea is you're the backup quarterback. This is Trey Lance's shot to start. He gets first crack at starting, and he's going to get all the first team reps. It's not a quarterback competition. You're just sort of waiting for your opportunity. So who fits that? Like, could the Niners afford Ryan Tannehill or Derek Carr or Daniel Jones? Probably not. We're looking for a 1-year contract with mostly incentives. A guy who's okay being number 2 in the depth chart to start the offseason. Who's that? I think there's 3 potential guys who are still on teams, but probably will get cut soon. And that's Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota, and Mitchell Trubisky. These are all guys who have had success. They're good athletes with strong arms. They're a lot better than Nate Sudfeld or Josh Johnson or CJ Beathard or anyone else who knows the system. I don't want Kyle Shanahan to bring in some 3rd-string quarterback just because he knows the system. I mean, Kyle's a good teacher. He can teach it. Bring in the best quarterback available because when asked, Kyle Shanahan said, hold on. Let me see. Did I lose it? Basically, he was asked, what kind of quarterback are you going to be looking for that you do bring in? And he just says, you know, someone who fits the structure of our team and our salary cap, but the best one available. Okay, you can't tell me that those three aren't the best ones available at the price point. 1 year, $2 million with incentives. It's got to be one of those three guys, I'm thinking. Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota, Mitchell Trubisky. I think I would rank them in that order. Now, Jameis Winston has thrown a lot of picks, but he also has thrown a lot of touchdown passes too. Matthew Stafford won a Super Bowl the same year he led the league in interceptions. I mean, I want a quarterback on this team that you think can throw 40 touchdowns in a season, because the last few guys who won a Super Bowl have each thrown 40 touchdowns in a season. You got to be really putting up points through the air. The interceptions don't matter that much unless you're throwing 30, which Jameis did do one time. But could Jameis throw 40 touchdown passes in a season with the Niners? I don't know. There's a lot of good weapons here. A lot of these quarterbacks haven't played on a team with this many weapons. So, yeah, it's risky coming to the Niners as a quarterback because you're probably going to get hurt. But Jameis gets hurt. I mean, a lot of these quarterbacks get hurt anyway. So they could think, you know what? I'll go to the Niners. I'll sign a 1-year deal. I'll bet on myself. And I'll just wait for my opportunity, banking on it. It's probably going to come, knowing what happens with this team. And then when I get out there, I got McCaffrey, Debo, Ayuk, Kittle. How can I lose? How can I miss? I've never been in suddenly I'll be winning. I'll be putting up great numbers. I'll be the offensive player of the week. And even if I don't have a future with the Niners, this will jumpstart my career. So I think the Niners have an interesting pitch that they can make to certain vets. Hey man, take a little bit less. Come here. Be a backup. You know? Only person in front of you is a guy with 4 career starts and 2 career injuries. Just wait. Or you could go sign a 2-year deal with the Raiders and get replaced eventually by whoever they draft. I think that's what the Niners got to do. They got options. This shouldn't be a tough one. But if they just hope and pray that Brock Purdy's coming back and Trey Lance will be the answer, they're in trouble, because then they're getting worse at the quarterback position. Last year they had Jimmy, who isn't good enough, but he's like this safety blanket kind of thing where you can at least be respectable with Jimmy Garoppolo. The Niners are flirting with, going back to 2020. Remember 2020? They had that really great team, but they had to start CJ Beathard and Nick Mullins, and they weren't starting level quarterbacks. The Niners need 3 starting level quarterbacks this year. 3. They have 2. That's not enough. They need to have 3. They can get 3. They can absolutely get a starting level quarterback for a 1-year deal with mostly incentives, cheaper than Jimmy Garoppolo. Let Jimmy Garoppolo go somewhere else. I think he wants to get a multi-year deal. I think he wants to prove the Niners. Go to the Raiders. I think he's going to end up with the Raiders. But go wherever. Go to the Jets. But he needs to leave. I think the Niners can get someone for cheaper than him. They ended up paying him $10 million. I think the Niners can get someone for $2 million. I'd rather have Jameis Winston for $3 million than Jimmy Garoppolo for 10. Same with Mariota. Same with Trubisky. Because ultimately, it's still about Trey Lance. You still want Trey Lance to take the job and do well. You're not trying to replace Trey Lance. You're just trying to have contingencies. And the contingency can't just be Brock. He'll be fine. You don't know. So there has to be a contingency. It can't be someone with 2 career starts. It can't be Jarrett Stidham. It can't be Nate Sudfeld. It has to be a legitimate contingent. It can't be another rookie from this draft. Aren't you kind of afraid that Kyle's going to draft another quarterback? Like, he's the guy who drafted CJ Beathard with like pick 103 or whatever, 104. He drafted Kirk Cousins at 102. He's got picks 99, 100, and 101 this year. How much you want to bet one of those picks is going to be a quarterback? How much you want to bet he's going to draft Tanner McKee from Stanford? You know he will. The least athletic quarterback in the draft, the heaviest footed quarterback in the draft, the play action passing quarterback in the draft. You know John Lynch loves him over at Stanford. Have you seen Tanner McKee play? Under center, turns his back to the defense, good scheme fit, pretty strong in the pocket, tall, mobile enough. So I wouldn't do that. I don't think bringing in third rookie quarter, because I look at Brock Purdy and Trey Lance as essentially being rookies. Until you have more than 16 starts in the NFL, you're essentially a rookie. So those 2 are rookies. You bring in a third rookie, and that's going to get you over the hump. That's going to bring a Super Bowl to your veteran win now team of Christian McCaffrey, Debo Samuel, Trent Williams, Eric Armstead, Tavarius Ward, George Kittle. I don't know. You might want to bring in some experience. Just, spice it up. Go back and look at Jameis Winston's one little half season that he had with Sean Payton. He was playing really well. Last year, he was playing for Dennis Allen, who is an awful coach. Really bad. And again, look at Geno Smith in Seattle. Don't you think Jameis would look... Jameis is better than Geno Smith. I'm going to say that. Jameis is better than Geno. The Niners have more talent on offense than the Seahawks, although the Seahawks have a pretty good offensive line. I think Jameis could throw for 4,500 yards on this team. When was the last time the Niners had a quarterback throw for 4,000 yards in a season? Jeff Garcia? I think this guy could throw for 35 touchdowns, or 40. Jameis. Now, the question is, can the Niners keep him healthy? No, they can't keep any quarterback healthy. That's why you bring in more bodies.